much convincing. I found out that Dan was a boxer in college and spent a lot of time working on his running, footwork, and of course the jump rope. Dan actually dared me to come back to him when I could complete 20 jumps in a row. He probably just wanted to get rid of me so he could put his music back in his ears and get back to work. Anyway, I promised to bother him again when I could skip 20 consecutive times over the rope, and in 2 weeks that day came. That dare turned into 100 jumps in a row and more, a friendship, a badass skill in a combat sport that's changed my view of the world, a brand, a training and consulting business, and the title of a pretty cool book with boxing gloves on it. Not to mention lots of speaking, training, coaching, consulting, and an online course that companies either subscribe to or host on their learning management systems, LMSs, and more. Without making that connection to Dan, I guess I'd be telling different stories. The point is that this is not just a boxing story, but a networking story. If I never had the guts to introduce myself to Dan, none of this would have happened. No boxing, no story, no jump rope, no glory, no networking, no connection. How many opportunities have you lost simply because you didn't start the conversation, ask the question, make the introduction, or request the help? Don't we leave opportunity on the table every single day? Certainly if you're a financial advisor, broker, agent, associate, planner, rep, producer, or really any type of salesperson, you probably see how important it is to make great connections, and to be intentional about making them, especially if your paycheck, bonus, commission, vig, ticket, or compensation depends on it. The best way to make those connections is by networking and putting a process in place so you're always connecting and ready for the next counterpunch. See what I did there? My hope is that knockout networking will give you the 1-2 punch needed to get you to go to the right places, say the right things, and meet the right people. Networking is the single best way to add more contacts to your database, build relationships, grow your book of business, land the job of your dreams, solve most of life's problems, learn, and maybe even meet the love of your life. Not bad, right? Networking is your knockout punch. The Wall Street Journal has stated that over 90% of all new business comes through networking. This shouldn't be a surprise, but what is a surprise to me is how many financial advisors and other producers don't take the time to make the investment to become better at networking. Think of how many more lives would be protected through life insurance, how many more working people could retire because of sound financial planning, and how many more seniors could rest easier knowing they have a good long-term care policy in place. That's just in financial services. If you're a sales producer in another industry, think about the problems you could help people solve and the value you can add to their lives. Imagine how many more clients you could help if you could simply connect with more of the right people and discuss how you can add more value to their lives, not to mention yours. Networking is the key. What is networking? Networking is simply a proactive approach, although in some cases it could be reactive, to meeting people to learn and potentially help them. That's it. Learning and helping. The networking process involves face-to-face interaction, but these days connecting is often started by a connection on LinkedIn or some other social media platform. But those online connections have to result in offline conversations, a Zoom or Skype meeting, phone call, or face-to-face meeting in the same room for real connections to happen and for trust to be established. If networking is so important, why do so many sales professionals, business owners, and job searchers avoid it, or spend the time to get better at it? Well, networking requires work. Heck, the word work is right in the word network. Not everyone is willing to put in the work to develop their network. Many sales producers, and especially financial advisors, simply don't know where to start.